The first project where I decided to really put it through its paces is a concert film following David Byrne and his new music that he's made with Brian Eno. I've been doing a lot of work with the Red camera, which people probably have heard of, and when that's fully rigged out with the lens and the follow focus and a matte box and the battery and the viewfinder and whatnot, you're between 25 and 30 pounds. And if you're trying to work handheld with that, it's fine for like a minute or two, but 10 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, it starts to really become a problem, at least if you're a wimpy guy like I am. So on one particular project I'm working on now, it's a concert film, and we wanted to have handheld coverage of the whole concert, which is like an hour and a half or more. And I was really trying to figure out how I could do that with this big heavy camera. And I actually did shoot a full rehearsal handheld and was totally wrecked. Without it, yeah. So I think as the concert went on, my operating got crappier and crappier because I was shaking, and and literally the next day my back was sore, my arms were sore, like everything was sore. It wasn't very. So I wanted to come up with a better way to do it. And the idea was not so much to float the camera out in front of me, but to like take the majority of that 30 pounds sort of off my shoulder and put it into my hips. Through that belt, which is just a much more comfortable place for that weight to rest. It's sort of going on the center of your body, not like tugging on one side of your body. And to make a long story short, it just worked terrifically at the end of the concert, where I just used it. I could have shot for another hour. It was no real muscle strain. It took this like 30-pound camera and probably turned it into like a 6 or 7 pound camera effectively. So it was just really easy to stay relaxed and to stay comfortable through the whole shoot. Good. The comfort level was good. I wasn't sure how. This is one of those things you can think about it, and I really wasn't sure how it would be, but in fact it was very comfortable. And it's just my own style. I'm not personally just so interested in Steadicam-like shots. I love like real handheld work where you really, where the camera moves in a very human way and where you can adjust the frame very precisely rather than floating through space. And so for me, it's I think most effective as a way to allow me to get that handheld touch with a camera that would be difficult to handhold otherwise. I think so. Certainly, if the takes are long, or if there's many takes, it's a huge aid. On a big project, you usually have an assistant, and if the takes are short enough, if it's a 30-second take, it's just on off, and it's not so bad. But yeah, I'd say even if it just gets to be 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, it's helpful. And I would also think at the end of or as a day goes into the 10th or 11th hour, it would be a big aid as far as just staying fresh. Yeah. When you're making a concert film, you can either try to control everything, which is hard to do in a real venue with a real audience and not be in people's way, or you can treat it like a documentary, which is how we're doing it, and try to be really spontaneous and open to whatever happens that night, which might not happen the night before or the night after. And the way to do that is to be mobile and handheld and really be able to just run around for an hour and a half, and just to bring it back, that's what this particular tool let me do on this project, which would have been really very, very difficult without it. I would say the majority of projects I work on do not involve me hand-holding camera for hours at a time, so this seemed like the perfect vehicle for this. Other things have come up. A couple of years ago, I shot a whole feature film for like 20 days entirely handheld, and this would have been a really great thing to have. I didn't have it. Of course, it was a little lighter camera too. So
were you using an HVX?
It's using an HVX, but with one of these lens adapter systems. So it's still got a bit much. If I did something like that today with the Red, I would definitely want to use, because it was like a real question. Like I kind of well, I'll take it with, and maybe it'll work, and maybe it won't. And like and it's like I know I can do this without it, but it's gonna suck, and if it works, it can only help, and it actually helped a lot and worked great.